Hey guys, Brandon here, the regular guy, and today I'm going to go over peptide reconstitution. So, I have everything here laid out in front of me. I'm going to start my cycle of SS-31 for mitochondria repair, and then after that I'll do MOT-C. But I just want to go over everything in detail and how I reconstitute my peptides and how I put them into a pen. So as you can see, I have everything laid out nice and neat. I have everything that I need. Everything is sterile. So I've got my 3 ml syringes, my 23 gauge needles, my Hospira bacteriostatic water. Always stick with Hospira. Don't go with anything other than that. I always use the analogy. It's like, drinking, filtered water or Dasani water compared to drinking water on a puddle on the side of the street. What would you rather have? It's not that much more expensive. I think I paid 15 bucks for that. I've got my peptides here. I've got 2 10 milligram vials of SS-31. It's from Bees Molecules. Highly recommend them. I'll put a link to them in the website as well. I've got my V2 pen. I've got the cartridge. This is a 3 ml cartridge for my V2 pen. And then I have an insulin syringe, which I will show you what we do with that later. Got my Nimbot printer. I'll leave a link for that as well. I use this to label all of my peptides. So you can see I've got a custom label here that I created. It's got the peptide name, it's got when I take it and how much I take it. And then that's just gonna go right on the pen. Let's see. So everything, obviously we wanna keep everything nice and clean here. So I always like to use gloves, just my personal preference. But you guys do whatever you wanna do. If you're gonna do this, at a minimum, at least wash your hands. So first thing we're gonna start off with, we're going to open our peptide vials. Now, this is an extra step that I like to take just because it's me, completely up to you. First and foremost, always want to clean the top of your vials. Make sure that there is nothing there. Kill any potential germs, bacteria, so forth. Okay, this is that extra step I was talking about. I take a clean needle and I pierce the top. Reason being, these are vacuum sealed. When you do it, you'll actually hear the air pull into it, and sometimes you'll even see the peptide kind of swirl around in there. But what that does is it keeps the bacteriostatic water from being forced into the vial when you go to reconstitute. I've heard that it can potentially damage the molecule. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't, but you know what? It's an extra step that takes 5 seconds, and I don't mind doing that. So, we've got our sterile 3 ml syringe, and we have another sterile 23 gauge needle. I'm gonna uncap, draw back to 3 mLs. In we go, push it in, and pull it out nice and slow until you get down to 3 mLs here. Sometimes you gotta get a little kick here, but just make sure it's at 3. Awesome. All right, so as you can see, I now have 3 mLs of bacteriostatic water drawn up. Now, remember, this is a 3 ml cartridge, and I have to put both of these in this one cartridge. So quick math, what's 3 divided by 2? 1.5. Each vial of this is going to get 1.5 milliliters of bacteriostatic water. So just go in straight to the center. And what I like to do is turn it up and just gently push it in. All right, just let the peptide run down the side. We're not in a race here. Get it down to 1.5 here. Pull it out. Okay, here's number 1. And here's number 2. So I will put the remaining 1.5 milliliters of bacteriostatic water in here. Okay. You can pull that back out to 1.5 to neutralize the air pressure or equalize it. All right. Recap your needle. Technically, to recap, you're supposed to do something like that or lay it down. Whatever you want to do. Just don't run it through your finger. I've done it before. It's not fun. All right. Now, for your vials, very, very important that you do not shake these. We're just going to gently swirl them. Let them dissolve on their own. They will dissolve, okay? It may take 15 or 20 minutes, but it'll dissolve. Okay. All right, while that's doing that, I like to keep a nice clean workspace so I know exactly what I'm doing. All right. So here is the label that I created. I'm just gonna go ahead and take this off and apply it right to my pen. That way, when I pull it out of the refrigerator in the morning, I know exactly what's in here. Now, for those that may be new to the operation of the V2 pen, very, very simple. This just pulls off, this unscrews, and then you will, once this is out of the package and loaded, we'll take this, put that in there, put that over top, and then you're able to take your sterile pen tips and attach them to here and inject. Now, remember, this is set at 7 units for each dose. So when I am ready to give myself an injection, just kind of pull this guy back here to 7. And we'll imagine that there's a pen tip on here. Load it. Then that's my stomach. Boom, in, press it in, and you have just given yourself a peptide. Very, very simple to use. There's no more insulin syringes being used every single day. You don't have to draw up every day. I find it so much easier if you're using a peptide, especially a Monday through Friday peptide. If you're just doing it once a week, insulin, there's nothing wrong with insulin needles. It's just not my favorite way of doing things. So still waiting here for this to completely reconstitute. I am just gently spinning it. We should be done here soon. But in the meantime, again, I'm probably not going to edit this video down. We're just going to kind of go here in real time. So while we wait for that, if you guys have any questions about peptides and what you've done, I'd love to hear your experience with them. Have they worked for you? Did they, maybe they didn't work for you? I want to hear about it. Personally, I have had such amazing results with peptides that I highly recommend them to everyone, family, friends. Actually, had my dad get on Clo because he had an old injury. So I will come back to this shortly. Almost done here. All right, actually, you know what? I am gonna pause the video because I have someone walking in the door. All right, guys, we are back here. I just had someone walk into the office, so I did have to cut the video. All right, but good news. Both of our 10 milligram vials of SS-31 have been fully reconstituted, so we're ready to go there. Now, how do you figure out dosing? Well, that's something that you really need to look at different protocols and procedures for. Most of the information out there is anecdotal because these are not approved by the FDA. It is a gray market, and if you look at all the big sites on Facebook and things like that, everyone refers to themselves as research subjects, and that's basically what you're doing when you decide to go the peptide route. But what I like to do, instead of using a peptide calculator, is I just put it into either ChatGPT or Grok, and I give it all the information and it spits out exactly what I requested to. So my exact prompt today was, I have 20 milligrams of a peptide that I have reconstituted with 3 mLs of bacteriostatic water. Remember, we put 1.5 in here and 1.5 in here. And I said, I want each of my injections to equate to 0.5 milligrams. Does all the math for me. Comes out to being actually 7.5, but I've decided just to do 7 just to start with. And if I feel that I need to adjust from there, I can, but I probably won't. The other important thing is to know how much peptide do you need? Because when you go online and you buy, let's say, a vial of Clo, right? Well, technically you need to buy 2 vials to get through a full 8-week cycle. But for this, I knew that I was going to be doing 0.5 milligrams Monday through Friday, and I was going to be doing that for 8 weeks. So that equates to 20 milligrams of peptide is what I needed. So as you can see, I have 2 10 milligrams equaling 20 peptides. This will get me through a full 8-week cycle. Okay. Now, also, if you don't have a pen, you can stop right here, right? You can just draw 7 units from this vial and inject with an insulin syringe. I would not suggest a 100-unit insulin syringe because drawing 7 units on that would be very tough. You would want to stick with a 30-unit insulin syringe if you're doing small doses like that. But since we're switching gears and we're moving into cartridge here, again, I like to make sure this is nice and clean. Got that. Although I just did this, always make sure everything's nice and clean, guys. Actually, we'll hold on to that just in case we need it for something. Okay. We're gonna take the same syringe that you reconstituted with, and I'm now going to draw this peptide back into the syringe. Okay, there's one that can now go in the trash. And here is number 2. Sometimes you have to kind of play around with it. You want to make sure you get it all in there. Awesome. All right, again, I like to give it a little flick and get that air out of there. Awesome. All right. Now, all 20 milligrams is now in this syringe, and we're going to transfer it to this cartridge. However, what we need to do is we need to make a relief valve, and I do that by using an insulin syringe. So pull off the back, pull this out, that's all trash. We take this and just very gently put it into the side. Now, you take your 3 ml syringe, put it in the top here. Again, just let it gently roll down the side. If you push too fast, you can get some air bubbles in it. It's not gonna hurt anything, but you know, we're not in a rush here. Now, as I slowly push the SS-31 into this cartridge, any air pressure that's building up in here is being relieved through that valve that we essentially created. So there we go, it's all in. Pull that out. And now we have a cartridge with 20 milligrams of SS-31 ready to go, pretty much. All right, so let's recap our needles. We don't want to have any accidents here. Okay, trash. I'm gonna throw this into a sharps container. These 2 vials, these can go in the trash. Done with them. And then we will recap this as well and put it in the sharps container. All right. Now we're at the pen. Here's your pen. Push that down, take your cartridge, hold it like that. Just be very careful with these glass cartridges because they can break and they will break. I've had it happen. I'm just gonna push this down, screw it on. Boom, there we go. I now have a fully loaded cartridge, 8 weeks of SS-31 ready to go. The other thing you're gonna need are pen tips. I use these sterile pen needle tips. They're 32 gauge, 4 millimeter by Care Living. I can also leave a link for that in this video. You pay like 14 or 15 bucks off Amazon for 200 of them. They will last you a very long time. Now, if you can tell, sometimes there will be a little bit of an air bubble in there. Honestly, that is nothing that I would even worry about, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you how we get the air bubble out. So you're gonna take a pen tip, put it on, screw the tip on. It's a 2-part tip. There is the actual needle. I don't know if you can see that, but it is a tiny, tiny little needle. We're gonna try and get all the air up there, and you're just gonna slowly, actually you can already see it's starting to come out. I don't know if you can see it's starting to come out the top. We're just gonna put it to 1 unit at a time and slowly push all that air out until you see, there it is. See how it's coming out the top now? I don't know if you can see it, but we just had it drip out the top, And look at that. We now have a primed cartridge with no air bubbles in it. So we're gonna put this cap back on, take it off. There we go. It's ready to go. Put this in the fridge and I will start first thing, probably on Monday. That is it. We are done. If you guys have any questions about that, you know, feel free to ask, let me know. It's, I think once you do it a few times, it's very simple to do. It just, you know, just do it. Just take your time, don't mess it up. Double check your work, triple check your work. And yeah, because, you know, peptides can get a little expensive. But the company that I was telling you about, Bees Molecules, so good friends with the owner. I don't know if you watched my video, but he was the guy who told me about peptides, got me into it. So I'm actually offering, he gave me a promo code that I can use, so I'll put that down in the description with it. It's Brandon10. You get 10% off your order, your first order. So definitely go check him out, give him some love. Yeah, check it out and let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, guys, wish you the best and take care. See ya.